Thank you for attending today's episode of Leadership in Times of Crisis. We are living through a global crisis, unlike any other in recent times. What is needed now are great leaders. Leaders who will help us overcome our fear, our laziness, our limitations, our selfishness, and our weakness for us to improve, work harder on things that we ordinarily would do on our own. In this webinar series, Leadership in Times of Crisis, I'll be inviting leading global experts on leadership to share what makes a great leader. And in today's topic, living and leading a happier life, I invited not one but two featured experts, Carine Bouery and Henna Sharma. They are here to enlighten us with these amazing insights to uplift and support us in living and leading a happier life and during this challenging period. So Carine was acknowledged as a global happiness leader at the World HRD Congress in India 2019 and 2020 and certified as a Chief Happiness Officer with Florida International University. Carine Bouery is a marketing, communication and employee experience strategist, speaker and facilitator, uses the science, design and promotion of happiness in organizations to help them stand out through a well-crafted corporate culture and inspiring leadership that prioritizes employee engagement. Coach and has a master's in arts and leadership and innovation in the contemporary media and a bachelor's of fine art in visual communication from the American University in Dubai. Henna is the founder and chief happiness officer of hopeandhappinesscoach.com. She is a certified ICF coach, happiness coach as well, and Heal Your Life licensed workshop facilitator. She believes in spreading happiness in the world by using holistic ways of integrating mind, body, and spirit. She was also the recipient of the Top 51 Global Happiness Leader Award from the World HRD Congress, and she is the Mentor of Excellence Award from the Women's Leadership Forum. Henna has been featured in leading newspaper and magazines such as the Indian Express and the Hindu. Thank you for both of you ladies for coming today to this event. It's a great pleasure, Carine and Henna, for you to come and share with us great wisdom on how we could live and lead with happiness. And like both of you, I am a strong believer that an act to make another happy inspires others to make us still another happy. And so happiness is aroused and abound. Thousands of candles we can light it from a single candle. And the life of a single candle will not be shortened. Happiness never decreases by being shared. And thank you again for being here today. So, Carine, would you like to share something first before we start?
I just want to say thank you, Suresh, for inviting me. We met in 2019, right, at the World HRD Congress, and ever since then we've become the best of buddies. And really, we just bounce some ideas off of each other, where we support each other or have supported each other throughout our journeys of change. And we know that there has been a lot of change we needed to adapt, especially this year, or adapt to, especially this year. And I'm so happy to have you in my circle of friends, Suresh, and influencers as well, happiness influencers. So I'm truly grateful for being here. And Henna, I'm so glad that I'm also with you on this discussion today.
Henna, would you like to share something?
Yes, thank you, Suresh, and thank you, Carine, for such wonderful words. It is amazing to be sharing the platform with you both, and this year has been rewarding in certain ways this year. Everybody is talking about how it has impacted, but it has been a wonderful year in certain ways. I met you both this year in February, right? And we are hosting this webinar together. We are at different locations, but we could connect to each other through technology, which is amazing. And I'm truly grateful for that. And to all the audiences who are joining us now from various locations. So thank you, Suresh, for organizing this, and wonderful meeting you again, Carine.
Thank you. Thank you to you both.
Same here.
We have David Lighton, who is joining us from LA, who's actually the president of Witty, and tonight I'll be speaking on another event for them tonight. So thank you, David, for joining us. And we have Edna Joyce, who is joining us from Russell Al Kema. So Karine, she must be a follower of you since you are talking to us from Dubai today.
Maybe.
We'll have some people from India attending this event also. So we had over 200 people who accepted the invitation to join us. So I'm sure they'll interact with us later. So let's start because since people are here to listen to us and share great insights into different various topics. So let's start with you, Henna. Are you a happy person?
Sure. What does it look like to everyone? So to answer that, Suresh, I think your energy speaks before you enter a room, and that's what I have been told. That I exude happiness whenever I am at any meeting or any seminar or any session, and that's what happiness is all about. It is a way you live life, and it becomes a part of you. So you don't have to really make an effort, to be happy. It just becomes your lifestyle.
Thank you for that great answer. But were you always happy? Now that's what the audience wants to know.
No,
It's a
I
good
have not
question.
always been happy. There have been ups and downs. There have been challenges. So, being always happy is not possible. We always can balance our, feelings and emotions and try to be on a more optimistic, positive side instead of feeling sad or depressed. So, to answer that, I'm not always happy. There have been challenges which I have overcome, and even now this year has been a very difficult year for each one of us, and we have taken it up as a challenge. We have come up with our own thinking to make the best use of it. And yes, there are obstacles, but how we overcome them is what makes us happy.
Thank you. So now, Karine, let's come to you. What is happiness for you?
Wow, I keep getting this question and I always struggle to find an answer for it for some reason. What is happiness for me? It's a combination of many, many different things. It's, for me, if it were for me, it's having a clear conscience, having a peaceful mindset, and having at the same time a little bit of stress. So the stress that kind of pushes you out of your comfort zone. So you need a good balance between the good stuff. Okay, anyway, today some psychologists, for simplistic reasons, they call emotions either positive or negative, but emotions are emotions. There's no such thing as positive or negative, because all the emotions we experience are very important for our self-development, for our growth, and for building a very strong type of wisdom and maturity. So yeah, for me, for example, I used to be a drama queen. I was born crying from the womb of my mother, always crying, drama, drama, drama. And I was very negative growing up as a teenager. I went through a lot of self-doubt. I was self-conscious about the way I looked. Puberty was not a good time for me. But that pushed me to start looking at myself and developing that confidence. So this is another fourth aspect I'd like to add to happiness, is having confidence. Truly, it's about having confidence in yourself. I don't want to keep going because I know I'm going to keep going. So you have to stop me, Suresh. Oh, I get an applause. I lost you, Suresh. I can't hear you.
Let me ask this question again. Do you think, Henna, this is for you, do you think that happiness lies within you? Okay, let me. Okay, can you hear me?
Unmute.
Okay, I've unmute already. Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, perfect. So I'll ask this question again. Uh, do you think happiness lies within you?
Yes, I think happiness does lies within us, and it begins with you and it starts with you, and you are the only person who can enhance your happiness, because no matter what your circumstances are, no matter what the environment that you live in, you have a percentage where you can work on yourself and increase your happiness. And science has proven that. There has been researches done on this. And to in simple terms, I would say the actions that you take on a daily basis contributes to your happiness.
Then I'll ask you, Karine this question. So why do so many people depend on other people and external things to be happy? This is for you, Karine. I know you would love this question.
Before I answer it, I want to back up Henna. Maybe this will give some context to the answer. So there is a professor in psychology called Dr. Sonia Lumbroski who showed that there are three aspects to what determines or affects our happiness. 10% of our happiness comes from external events. Okay, so now we're going to discuss that. 40%, or no, before I get into the 40%, I'll go into the 50%. The 50% of your happiness comes from your own genetics. So if you're born from parents who have the funny gene, then you are endowed and blessed with the happiness gene. However, that doesn't mean that people born from miserable parents cannot be happy, because they can, because 40% of your happiness comes from the choices you make and the behaviors that you take. So, your question, Suresh, was why do people tend to, let's say, blame or put the responsibility on external events and on other people? Well, it's because I believe people are a little bit scared to face their own demons. They're scared to realize that they're as flawed as everyone else. I mean, for me to have become, to have changed from a drama queen into a happiness coach or a happy person in general, I had to really take a good look at myself, honestly, accept that I accept my weaknesses, get them out in some kind of avenue. It could be anything, could be through journaling, it could be through, for me, it was acting for me, taking the role of different personalities helped me through my own issues. So yes, it's really about being confident, again, with the confidence, being brave, and being accepting, and I'd like to add compassionate and forgiving towards yourself, because we really aren't perfect.
Exactly. Compassion is a very, 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 very important tool if for someone to even start looking for happiness, because so many people have such difficult time accepting themselves. And if you don't have compassion for yourself, how you have compassion for others? And that's a struggle most people are having right now, especially in this lockdown where there's no connection, no external connection. So they are now the only thing they can do is work on themselves. So let's ask another question. Now,
So I have something to add here.
Henna, please.
So to what Karine said, we humans tend to cling on to the familiar pain instead of going towards the happiness, which requires action. So that fear of taking action is much stronger than the pain, the comfortable pain that we face on a day-to-day basis.
And
And
Henna,
that's the
I'd also
reason
like to add
people
to that.
like to blame others, saying that he is not doing this for me, she is not good, my boss is not good, my team is not good. And that's why it's easy to blame others than to take action.
The common one I've heard amongst the people that I work with is, my mother-in-law doesn't love me. She makes me work very hard. Leave the mother-in-law, go find her own home. Anyway, this is what one of our guests, who was attending guests, has said. Happiness is the ability to overcome stress and being able to deal with it in a satisfactory way and resulting peace of mind. So a lot of us are running behind the peace of mind. So let's talk about this quickly. Carine, what is peace of mind to you?
Peace of mind, for me, it starts with a clear conscience, knowing that you live your life with integrity and honesty. Uh, so you talk the walk and you walk the talk when there is full alignment. So when there's full alignment to who you are and how you behave, and I don't understand why. I've heard this from people like, you need to be a hardcore, sharp, mean professional in the workplace, but at home you need to be nice and soft and caring and tender. Why? Why are we forced into being split into these two personalities? And the more we live life this way, the less peace we're going to have. The peace comes from bringing these two important aspects of your personality and your life in general into one, and really living it honestly and with integrity.
Okay, your turn, Henna.
That's a wonderful answer, Karine. I completely resonate with that. Yes, for me also, peace is integrating mind, body, emotions, and soul. So, if your mind, body, emotions, and soul are integrated, every thought, every word, every action that you take is a mindful action, a mindful thought, a mindful word. And that brings peace within you because you know what you're doing. Instead of juggling, three things and then getting hassled, you are in the moment. You start your day being mindful. Again come to that present moment during the mid of the day, and then again you end the day with some gratitude, and that makes your life peaceful. That makes my day peaceful. So when I align myself, and the days when I'm stressed, I know I have lost that alignment and I need to step back and then bring
Yeah,
that back again.
very nice. That's true.
And
Because
that's okay. And that's totally okay, right? And that's
it
totally
is.
okay. It's just
Yes.
about being mindful, like you said, Anna.
Exactly, exactly. And the whole world is living duality, where we are living one state for others, one is for us. But as you said earlier, Karine, it's all about getting it together. But see, what happens is, why are we so afraid to be honest with ourselves? Because this is another thing I talk to people about. Are you truthful to yourself? Because if you are not truthful to yourself, how are you going to be happy ever in your life? Because then you're living a lie, and lie creates fears, and fears do not make you happy as a person. There's no way to be happy when you're fearful of life, and that's an emotion that hurts us all the time. Okay, so let's go to the next question. Okay, this one, let's see. Let's start with Henna this time. Uh, do you have a pet?
No, I don't have a pet.
Okay, Karin, do you have a pet?
I was brought up with many pets, mostly German Shepherd dogs,
Okay,
and
that's
lately
good.
a cat. But now, no.
No. While you were growing up, while you had a pet, did that pet make you happier?
Absolutely, 100%. 100%. They bring so much joy because they're just living in the moment. And of course, you'll experience different things with different animals for pets, right? So I think the common ones today are the dog and the cat. And they each have a different personality and a different way of demonstrating their love for you. So the dog, what's beautiful about the dog is that it's always there to love you no matter what, sees beyond your mistakes, beyond your flaws. The dog works with your essence as a human being. Whereas the cat, what I love about the cat is that they set healthy boundaries. You see, a lot of our miseries in the world is because we don't set healthy boundaries. So we have a lot to learn from cats too. Yes, dogs are amazing with their unconditional love, But cats are as amazing with setting healthy boundaries and saying, look, if you don't love me, that's your problem. Take me as I am. And that's how we should be. We should be, again, confident in ourselves to be taken as we are and not be afraid. Be like cats and be like dogs.
All right, perfect. Thank you.
So to answer Suresh's question, I don't have pets, but I have kids.
So they are your pets.
Who are still cuddlers.
But eventually,
So yes, they are total cuddlers.
Do they bring the same joy?
Oh no.
That's the question.
Absolutely. And not only they bring joy, they teach you so much about happiness. They get over things so quickly. They're so forgiving. And they are so full of love. They're complete self-love beings. So my younger one would stand in front of the mirror for hours and praise herself, appreciate her looks, dance, admire herself. And that's something to learn about. So they teach you so much about self-love and being compassionate, being forgiving. And yeah, they are my pets.
Great, thank
you.
You
must have very well-behaved kids, Henna.
Your children like to be considered as pets. So let's go on. So let's ask Henna this question. What was the happiest moment in your childhood? Like the period, like when you were, what age, what happened special that makes it the most memorable?
So I'm guessing this question is for me, right, Suresh?
Yes, let's start with you, Henna, because Carine keeps taking all the limelight.
Sorry. Sorry,
while growing up, I was also a stage person, going on stage, being in school programs. So I remember one of the days when I was not a part of the program. I was standing in the audience, but the chief guest of the show had not arrived, and the crowd was making a lot of noise, and everybody was talking. So my teacher called me on a corner and she said, why don't you just go on the stage and take over, because the chief guest is still getting late. And I said, okay. And as I was climbing up the steps of the stage, the teacher told to the other one, now see how the crowd comes in control. And I think that was the most encouraging words that I heard. And it made me feel so good that, I can do it. Somebody's faith in me, somebody's trust in me made me feel good about myself. And I went ahead and with a lot of confidence, I took care of the 500 children. And by the time chief guest came, everybody was applauding. So I think that was the most happiest moment of my life.
All right, great. Finally, that's a strong answer I like to hear from you. So let's talk to you, Carine. What has been the most miserable moment of your life that you want to share and tell people?
Oh my God. Oh, you really want me to go there? Oh.
Take it out. This is a counseling session. Come on.
Okay.
Leading.
I'm gonna do it. Okay. So two major events in my life. The first one was the very bad split up of my parents, which affected me and my siblings quite heavily. But I owe it to this really messy split up that pushed me and accelerated my self-development course. So it was one of my most miserable times because I was put in the middle and I was sort of like the mediator, or trying to see how I can help the father, how I can help the mother, and at the end I bear the really bad brunt of it. So and I had to really grow up very quickly. I was only 20 at the time when officially this happened. The second event is linked to the first event. And because I had a lot of resentment built up towards my parents, I started to attract the wrong types of people into my life. And one particular person, a man in this case, he really, really gave me a hard time for 8 years. I was afraid of him. He was abusive in every way you can think of. And it took me many years, 8 years, to at least physically cut away from this person, but then another 8 years to deal with his stalking. So yeah, these were two very, very miserable and very major milestones in my life.
Thank you for being honest.
Sorry if I
Thank
made
you,
anybody
Carine, for
cry
being
out
so
there.
brave and sharing.
Show me some tears now. Come on. It's okay. Don't worry about it.
Sheesh, where is the actor in me? I
You've been
can't
so
do
brave.
it.
No, I'm sending you a virtual hug.
Thank you, honey. Honey Henna.
Okay, we both love you. You know better than that. Thank you. Okay, let's move on. I don't think I want to ask that question to Hannah because she will have a moment too, which I know probably I don't want to bring you there, or you want to share with us too, Hannah. Are you
I think
comfortable?
we'll keep it for the next time.
Okay, see, I know that's why I didn't want to bring her there. Okay, fine. Okay, let's do that. Let's keep her with the happy moments. Now, compared to your friends, Hannah, are you more happier or less happier than them?
Very interesting question, Suresh. And another thing that I would like to highlight here is that Suresh has just got us on the spot. He didn't give us any time to think about these questions at all. We kept asking him, what is it all about? And he said, just show up. So, yes,
You're so mean.
I think compared to my friends, I would say yes. I try to be more happier because I know the secrets that actually bring happiness, whereas others are so busy still complaining or whining about what is not going right. And I have learned that it is better to appreciate what you have than to cry for what you don't. So I think that makes me more happier and joyful than others any day.
Now, let's talk about within your family circle. Are you happier or less happier than them? See, friends are easy. We know they are dealing with their social media following craze, that they always want to be liked and loved by people that are strangers they've not seen for years. What about amongst family members, which you actually see and deal with every day? Are you happier than them?
Yes, so amongst my family members, Suresh, amongst the adults, I am the happier one. But when I compare myself to children, no, I still lack. So, children are bubbling with that lively energy.
As we shared earlier, children live in the moment, and that is actually, as long as the environment is made such, the happiest moments of our lives. Because I know some children have tough time, they struggle through challenges of their own, but if the environment is made comfortable by the adults, childhood is actually the best moments of life. Thank you for sharing.
Absolutely.
So let's talk to you, Karine. This time is yours.
Can I add something? Suresh, to that?
Please add.
So I on that subject, I was watching a webinar, and the person shared a screen, and I took a screenshot of that, and it's really blew me away when I read this. So it says, Google recently demonstrated that its best employees were not Ivy League students, but rather young people who had experienced a big loss in their lives and had been able to transform that experience into growth. And according to Google, deep personal loss has resulted in employees who are more humble and open to listening and learning. And I so resonated with that. So from the miseries I shared with you, and how really I turned my misery, my pain, my loss into growth, which helped me be where I am today. And I didn't know. I didn't know I was doing that. It was something divine, almost an inner knowing, you see. And then that pushed me, even though I can humbly say that I'm not there yet. I'm definitely not there yet. This is why, like Henna said earlier, it takes practice, daily practice, small things you can do, small actions you can take to enhance your long-term or sustainable happiness. But what I'm interested to know, Suresh, is your miserable story. Do the audience know what your miserable story is about?
I can't say anything. I have been a guy for sure. And that's why I wrote a book called The Miserable Millionaire. And I have been as blunt and open about my misery. And I can tell you, it is good that we go through these miserable moments because that makes us who we are. That's what creates an identity. And all three of us have gone through these miserable moments. And I know that because I've spoken to you both individually and gone through all those different things that cause that pain and all that. So we know. And now we just have another lady who just came up, Charul, saying, Carine, your vulnerability is admirable. She's loving it. So Charul is on the program.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. So thank you, Charul, for sharing your comment. Yes, we are trying to make this show as open and as candid as possible. That's why I did not even make a set of questions. I'm making these questions as it comes intuitively to me because I feel this is the kind of questions you will be comfortable answering and open and able to share the truth. So let's come to the next question. What affects your levels of happiness? So let's start with Carine this time.
What affects our levels of happiness? Give me a minute there. So what? Wow, it's a very broad question, Suresh, because I'm going to refer back to Henna when she said the word gratitude. Gratitude, when you feel grateful for what you have instead of what not. Well, you wouldn't be grateful for something you don't have, but maybe sometimes you need to be grateful for what you don't have because maybe that thing that you don't currently have may have impacted your life in a more negative way. So we need to be grateful for what is already there, for the present moment, what is already available, for the people we have around us. And one exercise I do, Suresh, and this was also before I got into the science of happiness. I always imagined my life without certain people. And then I'd ask myself or check, how would I feel if they were not there? And these people would definitely be very important people, loved ones, right? I would ask the same for certain kinds of events. What if that was not there? How would I feel? How would I feel today if I lost my mother? You know, and another important question I ask myself to check in on my levels of happiness is, if I were to die today, can I say, or can I look back and say that I really lived my life to the best and fullest as possible? And if the answer is always yes, I'm ready to die. And so far, it's been a yes, because I took, even though I still have many goals to achieve, and I want to achieve more. I haven't tapped into my full potential, but considering my current circumstances and resources, I can say I'm living my life to the best possible way I know how to live. And hopefully I'll be more enlightened to live it even better.
Thank you.
Or in a more fulfilled way.
Thank you very much. Now, can you do me one favor? Don't shake that jewelry because that's making the vibration, the echo kind of sound. Because when you're doing this, I think you have some jewelry on you, is it?
I don't have earrings on. It must be the wires.
Yeah, possible. Something is wobbling the sound. Okay, so let's come to Henna now. Now let's talk about those countries that call themselves the happiest places on the world, like the Nordic countries, like it's between a fight between Norway and Finland. What are these governments doing right to make these the happiest countries in the world? Let's talk about this because I know a lot of countries around the world actually are doing not enough to create these happy spaces, which is work-life balance kind of thing that most of these countries are doing proper. So let's talk about this. I know we are all three specialists in this field. So let's start with Henna now this time.
Thank you, Suresh. So, since I'm joining from India, I would like to talk about Bhutan being the closest. Bhutan is one of the happiest countries that I love and I would like to visit. And the reason I think it is happiest is because number one, they are on mountains, their food is very good, they have organic food, and that makes them healthy, and that leads to happiness. Second is they measure their happiness, which is an integral part, because having measuring scales of instead of just measuring GDP, also measuring what is your gross happiness index, that makes also the country more happier, the people aware of something like this is there. For example, even now with COVID and this phase, many organizations have started paying attention to employee well-being. So now there is awareness, now there are surveys, now there are efforts taken to build that happiness, so that country is already doing it. And the third would be, I think they are away from internet. So that again adds to less misery, because there is no jealousy, there is no comparison of social media, so that also may contributes to their happiness. So I think this top three is coming in my mind right now. Would you like to add anything, Karine?
Yes, yes. And definitely a lot of the countries today have taken Bhutan as an example to set up the concept of happiness on a country level. So according to the World Happiness Report, which comes out every year, they say Finland has scored the top country of being happy. And the reason why they're happy is because they have extensive welfare benefits, they have low levels of corruption, they have a well-functioning democracy, and they have an instilled sense of freedom and independence, which makes a big part of why they're happy. And then you go to another study, and I encourage a lot of people to watch this TED Talk by Nick Marks, where he speaks about the Happy Planet Index. And what Nick Marks adds to the formula of happiness is the environment. So are we taking care of our environment? And through his data points and studies, he found that Costa Rica actually scored the highest in terms of happiness, so happy people with a happier environment. They still preserve their nature. Costa Rica is, I believe, the only country in that part of the world with no military. They do not have an army, so they're not spending money on war. They are spending it on the welfare of its people and well-being of its people. And I've been to Costa Rica in March for the Gross Happiness Festival in the University for Peace, and I saw it with my own eyes. The cleanliness, the friendliness of people, and the nature is spectacular. And they use renewable energy sources as well, so that's another major one.
So let's talk about this now. How can these ideas be incorporated at work? Can you hear me?
Henna, you want to go ahead?
Yeah, please. You decide.
Yes, I can hear you, Suresh. So, in work, I think there is already a lot of action being taken. Many companies have taken support to build that happiness within the employees, in the culture. And during this last few months, I would say 6 to 7 months, I have seen so many companies actually coming forward and creating happiness leaders, happiness champions within the organization, because they want those people to be, groomed so that they can actually make it an organizational culture instead of just one training session. And that shows the need and the awareness of the organizations coming forward and building happiness into the part of the organization. And another thing is that they are taking, so I am also a lead coach for one of the health integrated apps. So they are all into well-being, how employees can focus on their health, their well-being, emotional health as well as physical health. So once you are emotionally and physically happy, the right hormones release in your body, and you're, overall a happier and joyful person. And there are so many things that can be done on a daily basis, like, with one organization we did start the daily meeting with honoring the daily heroes, and gratitude practice in the organizations, and working on work life integration, because everybody is working from home. There is no boundaries between work and life, so how to build that. And all these things have actually helped employees as well as organizations. And that's why if you see the data, we have actually, there is a lot of more productivity than what happened earlier when they went to office physical work.
That's great sharing. Thank you. What about you, Karim? Any insights on how you might have provided strategies for some enterprises or even government organizations?
Yes, so with me, it starts with the whole concept of employee engagement and how it's evolving. So we had employee engagement, we have employee experience, so that's now evolved into employee experience, and now employee experience has evolved into employee advocacy. And a lot of companies have, even pre-COVID, have come up and set some technology that would facilitate engaging and communicating with others, sending cheers, doing events together, blah, blah, blah. So some of these tools have been put in operation, but without thinking of the holistic or overall picture of the employee's journey into the company, from when they get onboarded, even before onboarding, to when they exit and after they exit. Because what you want your employees who even exit your company to still advocate and say, I really loved working for this company. And I could say this with one of the companies I worked with. So under the employee experience umbrella, we look at 4 different aspects. We look at the personal. So as Henna was saying, we need to look at each and every employee's well-being, so personal development. Then we look at the physical space, which now has been taken away from us in COVID. And we look at the digital space. So we want to see if we have the right technology and communication platforms in place to facilitate collaboration and communication. And the 4th thing that organizations tend to ignore and not be intentional about is the relational. So we have personal, physical, digital, and relational. And when I say relational, it means relationships between coworkers. And I believe that's where a lot of our issues lie in productivity and motivation. When we feel we're not collaborating well, when we don't have a sense of belonging, or we're not involved in projects. So for me, and that has been really my area of focus, I just zoomed in on the relational aspect, and you can design many programs around that. It could be through serious games or workshops, co-creation workshops, and so forth. Thank you.
Thank you. So thank you. We have a couple more guests who have joined us. Asim, thank you for joining us today. Then Zubin Mirchandani has sent the following message to you, Karine.
Oh, Zubin. Hi, Zubin.
He's very, very happy that you have been open finally about talking about yourself, and he's looking forward to hearing more of us later date. All right, great. Thank you. So, as you were talking about, we were just talking about exactly what you were just saying. It inclusive is what we are looking for. See, relationships have to be based on inclusivity. So let's talk about inclusivity, Henna. How would you see that as a crucial element, especially in India, since you work in so many companies? Are companies being inclusive, where they give a equal voice to the guy who's down here versus to the senior leadership? I know those are challenges most companies are facing right now, especially in Asia. Can you share more about that?
Yes, Suresh. So there is a lot of focus again, which is now coming on inclusivity and diversity. And when we work with companies, especially my programs, I focus on each for equal concept instead of he for she or other things, because I feel that that way we are all together, we are all equal. And when we talk about being inclusive, we talk about understanding of emotions, understanding of preferences, and also understanding of psychology. So in any relationship, whether it is a personal relationship or a professional relationship, there are various types of people. And if you understand the personality, you're able to deal with it in a much better way. So it is not that because this person is a leader, he would act like this, or if this person is a female, she would act like this. What is important is to have the understanding that we are all humans, we are all equal, and how we can work together, balancing our differences, balancing our uniqueness, how we can still integrate those uniqueness in creating better work situation. And that's what the focus of the work that I do with organizations is. And recently we did a 500 people seminar on each for equal, and it was so many men came saying that we just realized how much we take our partners for granted. And that is what it is all about, not only at work but also in your personal life, and that is being inclusive.
When men finally accept their wives are crucial part of their success. That's how they make it more inclusive both at work at home. Because if you go happy from home to work,
Yes.
you will be more happy at work too. It's common science. The same thing if a woman left the home having no issues, no fight with her husband, she'll go happy at work. So I feel this is very important how we start our morning and how we reach to our workspace and how we go back home, not bringing back problems from work to home. See, our spouses are not responsible for the misery that takes place at work. Yeah, they are there to support you, but you don't have to blame every problem on them. So this is something I just wanted to share. So let's come to this, Carine, now.
And
How? Yeah, please go on. Sorry.
yeah, I wanted to say I couldn't agree more with you, Suresh, and it reminded me of a conversation I was having with another chief happiness officer, and I told him that today I love my job, I love what I do, and the reason being is because I was able, number one, to identify my purpose. So what am I here to do? I'm here to inspire and empower people to unlock their potential. Not just them, but also me, unlock my own potential. And my purpose at work is to co-create happiness and human advancement in corporates. But I also, with purpose, I found that having a support system from both your professional life and your personal life really helps accelerates your success. So I have the best manager in the world, and he supports my ideas and and approves almost everything, gives me the independence, the autonomy to practice who I am and to implement my ideas. At the same time, I have a supportive family helping me through my work from home experience, which has taken me away from the physicality and the transactional physicality with my colleagues, which I love. It gave me so much power before COVID, and now we just can't have it all the time. So that's it. So, purpose and support from both professional and personal. I love this applause.
And definitely, Karin, I would like to add something there that, a big part of being successful in your profession is communicating with your family. Because right now, when I'm in this webinar, my children are taken care outside by my husband and my in-laws. So, when I communicate with them, I have this, they understand and they feel involved and they appreciate and they support. So it is all about coming together.
United, we are
Yeah, very
stronger.
true.
I'm sure we both, all of us three, will agree. United, we are stronger. I don't know why we try to
Yes, yes.
differentiate everything in life, like a man to a woman, woman to a children. Like everything. We feel we want to be unique, but we should look at the common ground that we are all vulnerable souls looking for something greater and achieving that happiness and connecting to something greater than us. But these kind of things, anyway, we'll not talk about today. It's not that kind of show today. So let's talk about work again. So let me ask you this question, Henna. How do you encourage creative thinking in an organization using happiness? Okay, let's put
Uh,
happiness in it too.
could you please repeat that, Suresh? How do you?
Encourage creative thinking within an organization using happiness.
Okay, so yes, there are a lot of exercises that we do with the organization, with the employees. So there are a lot of exercises that brings out the creativity within. There is a lot of discussion that happens, and sometimes just drawing on the wall. We put when we were doing physical workshops, we would put big blank sheets all across the wall, and we would ask them to do a group exercise or do an individual exercise. And now, being on the virtual platform, it is all happening virtually. So even now, when we sit for a workshop, I ask everyone to have some paper, pens, journal, ideas, so that they can be more creative. And once you're more creative, you're able to lighten up, you're able to use your best thinking and create results. So that's how I use some tools and exercises to bring in creativity and enhance happiness.
Okay, so now
What
this.
I find, Suresh,
Yeah, please.
what I find also, adding to what Henna said, is the ability for leaders to create something called psychological safety. So that's what allows people or employees to be more creative in the workplace, is when they feel they can speak up, share their concerns, share their ideas, and at the same time not be suppressed by their colleagues or by their leaders for it, or be discouraged, or give a negative comment. See, and again, that goes back to the culture. Do we have a culture of healthy feedback, and are we giving feedback the right way to help let's say enhance the creativity in the workplace? So yeah, definitely psychological safety and feedback are two other elements I would add to have a more creative organization.
And right now, most important is my job safe? Because most companies have not been very clear on how strongly grounded are these people, and this fear of losing their job is affecting the mental cycle, like you were just saying. Because if they are being affected psychological, how are they going to be more creative? How are they going to be actually more engaging right now? So companies have to be clear and have an open communication where they are being factual on day-to-day basis. What place are we sitting as an enterprise, as a group? Are jobs vulnerable at the state? Because a lot of companies are not being clear. They are firing people 1 week later or even the day after, and people are feeling very afraid. And Right now, fear is killing most people. And since we are working from home through social mediums like Zoom and all that, that is also affecting us mentally. So let's talk more about how is this impacting our well-being and working life as well. Let's talk. Let's start with Henna first.
Yes, Suresh, you're so right. The virtual world has actually, diluted all the boundaries. Now there is no work-life boundary. There's no like coming back home from work. You are on calls from the morning till evening, and you're managing home also along with your calls and work calls and emails. So yes, there is a need for this awareness that since there is now no boundaries, we need to create that boundaries and be real about it. So when I talk to leaders, addressing the CEOs or the leaders of the company, both middle as well as the top, the main thing is be real. There is a reality, there is COVID, we cannot shy away from it, we cannot deny it. Be real but still be resilient. So this is the situation. How can we have a positive mindset in spite of the reality that we are facing right now? So instead of just thinking what is the loss that the company is facing, we have to turn our thinking and the mindset towards what could be the potential gains. And that's where the leaders have to be creative in the way they are thinking, in the way they are moving forward, because that is what the leaders for tomorrow will be. Things are changing, everybody is talking about next normal, and leadership has always been talked about. With every decade it changes. Leadership has to be like this, that, and the next normal leadership is going to be about taking massive action. So I created an acronym which is REAL, REAL. So R means be resilient and realistic. E is being empathetic towards your employees. And how do you do that? You engage with them on a daily basis. And A is again for massive action. You have to take action on every single day, because you don't know what could happen. We earlier norms of the company's values and missions are changing on a day-to-day basis. So we have to take active action, and then only you can lead. So that what creates a leader. So if we keep this in mind, it's an easy thing to remember and always helps to remind you every day, okay, let's be real.
Okay, Carine, your turn. Would you like to add? Yeah.
My acronym for REAL is a different one, and it's one I used in the World HRD Congress in Mumbai this year in my presentation called "Why Does the Future of Work Need a Chief Happiness Officer?" And the acronyms I used were R for relate, E for experience, A activate, and L lead. And in each of these letters, there's something that we do. So the whole idea was to advocate for the concept of creating human happiness ambassadors in organizations. And they could be anybody in the organization, but they need to have a certain type of personality. So how do you assess these personalities? Is by creating an assessment or by having an assessment tool that we use to show the personality of the person and to understand whether they are capable of becoming a happiness ambassador. And then experience. And I think, Suresh, you are the master when it comes to experience. And that, I mean, we take these happiness ambassadors and put them in an experiential setting of meditation, silence, going within, and really finding the peace within themselves as a way to be self-compassionate and self-forgiving and get out of whatever stuckness they are in. And then with Activate A, we train these happiness ambassadors with certain chief happiness officer competencies. right? To be able to also measure and monitor happiness levels in organization through engagement, through innovation, through even burnout levels. So we need to look at that too. And then L for lead would be all about the leadership aspect, and how does the leader take all of that, and just present it to the company. Are these your kids, Suresh, cheering me?
As we come towards the end of the event, we have already, so let's wrap up the show. Let me ask you quickly, what resources, Henna, would you suggest for somebody who's just starting to be a leader? How to be a happier leader? Would you have any books that you would like to suggest?
Yes, Suresh. I think the most important thing that I would like to suggest anybody who wants to lead in life or in an organization would be to have that empathy and compassion to yourself as well. So, you do it for others, but be attentive of your own well being and have that empathy and compassion towards yourself. Because if you will take care of yourself, if you are a happier person, then definitely you are able to ripple down that effect to your organization, to your home, and create a happy world around yourself.
Thank you. 30 seconds, Kareem. What about you? What would you recommend
Yeah,
somebody?
I encourage. I would encourage people to read Dare to Lead by Brene Brown, where she speaks a lot about vulnerability, and the power of vulnerability in leaders, which is linked to service leadership, and that's a totally different topic at the end of the day. I would also recommend books by Patrick Lencioni, who talks about teamwork. So for leaders who want to have better teams.
Thank you, Kareem, for sharing that. In fact, next year, starting the 20th, I will be starting a new series which will talk about servant leadership, and I will invite you in that. And definitely, I want to hear your insights in that. And Henna, you are more than welcome to join us as well. So let's wrap up this because I do not
Great.
like
Thank
to
you,
go
Suresh.
past that 1 hour. Let me just wrap up and then I'll thank you again. So the wrap up is following. So one of the greatest traits in being a great leader is the ability to share without expectations. If today's webinar has helped you generate more hope, optimism, and provide you with the advanced tools for making a difference as a leader, please share this video with friends and colleagues. Thank you and see you all next year because this was the last episode in this series today. That's why we made it with two featured guests on happiness. And thank you, Karine, and thank you, Henna, for being my guest. You were awesome, and I'm sure. And let me take this time to wish you both a great Merry Christmas and wishing you also a Happy New Year. And I'm sure next year will be a great year for all of us.
Same to you,
Thank
Suresh.
you,
You're
and wish you the
wonderful.
same.
So I'm going to end this show right now, and we'll talk
Thank you.